She's super cute. We like her. So here we go. Let's get started. We got a lot of exciting things to talk about. We're gonna start with how to make more money and close more deals in a high inflation environment. And to do that, what we're seeing is consumers are more compressed on income. They're more compressed on savings. Inflation goes up, people are spending more money, so the savings are tight. So what that means is we have to rely on more government programs to get more homes purchased. And the other interesting part about inflation is housing prices are going up as well. And the inflation print came out 2 days ago or 1 day ago, was a little bit over 6%. And housing, which is core, one of the core inflation is, I think, was like 7% or something. So if you own real estate, that's great news. Right? That means you just got a raise, right? Then your assets are worth more money. If you don't own real estate, that's bad news because your savings are getting depleted. So you need to own real estate. It's the bottom line. And so if you don't own real estate, your savings are getting depleted and you're paying more taxes because you can't take the mortgage interest deduction. So there's lots of reasons to own real estate. And what you need to be doing is educating your consumers about there's so many different government programs out there to help them. And even if they don't have any money for down payment, there are programs that will give them up to 5%. I'm going to say 15, no, 5%. I almost misspoke. Up to 5% down payment assistance so that they can get into their house and start making payments instead of paying rent. So that's what we're going to start off today, is talk about down payment assistance programs and how, what our strategy is and how we are grabbing this opportunity. And we're getting approved in almost every down payment assistance program there is across the country. And if there's something you need that we don't have, if there's a program you need and we don't have, you just tell us and we'll sign up.
Yeah, and I think that's an important thing to be able to educate yourself about so that you can talk to your borrowers, because that's really one of the biggest barriers, if not the biggest barrier to purchasing a home, is coming up with that down payment. And a lot of people don't know that there are so many government programs out there that can help them with it.
Okay, so let's jump right in, Angel. I know you have some interesting stuff to show everybody.
I sure do. Because we're on the road, this is going to look a little funny here for a second, but bear with us. There we go. All right. So everyone's favorite, some people's favorite, most of you at least know of the game of Monopoly.
I'm guilty. I played it when I was a kid.
Some people love it, some people hate it, but I think everyone at least knows what we're talking about here and how difficult it would be to play this game if you weren't purchasing any of these properties. So it really does illustrate exactly the point that you were making, Pavan, that if you don't own real estate, all you're doing is going around this board, right? Collecting your $200, trying not to go to jail, and then giving money to everyone's property who you do land on, right?
Yes. I guarantee you don't win that game if you don't buy real estate. And again, very similar in real life, not exactly the same, but very similar in real life. If you don't buy real estate, you're just burning your money. So let's talk about how you can help your buyers get into real estate.
Yes, so there are so many down payment assistance programs out there, depending on the state, the area that you live in, characteristics of your borrowers. It would be near impossible to know about all of them and all of the nuance and who qualifies and for how much. And that is why it's so beneficial to have Morgan. So for those of you that are in Morgan right now, watching this webinar, you can actually just ask her, hey, Morgan, what DPAs, what down payment assistance programs are available in my area? And she'll be able to let you know. So I'll show you all a few things that I've asked Morgan about down payment assistance programs. And so here I asked her, since we are here in California, what down payment assistance programs are available. And she gave me this list. Not only is she going to give me that list, she will actually send me the guidelines. So here she gave me the list. Here's what's available in my channel and retail in California, as well as what's available on the wholesale channel. So all of these things that we're talking about, how you can use Morgan, this is available whether you are on our TPO channel or you're on our retail channel. So she gave me both lists, and then I could actually take it a step further and ask her for guidelines or ask her for some more questions about those programs. So I did ask her, well, what is available nationally? And she did tell me we do have the Chenoa DPA programs everywhere except for New York State. So sorry, New York State, but that would be a good opportunity to ask her what is available there in New York. I asked her then if there is an income restriction for DPAs. And she did tell me there is income limits based on geographic area for certain DPAs. So this is a great time to point out that Morgan's answers are going to be as specific as the questions or as the information you're giving her. So I was very general. I said, is there an income restriction for a DPA? And she said, there could be. So I would need to get more specific in telling her what DPA I'm looking at and in what area. So here I did, I got a little more specific and I said, well, what about my hometown of Portland, Oregon? Is there an income restriction using Chenoa in that area? And she let me know that actually there is not an applicable income limit for the Chenoa DPA. So as you guys can see, you don't have to be an expert in a DPA program or any DPA program in order to be able to support your borrowers through taking advantage of a DPA to achieve that dream of homeownership, because you have Morgan 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So you could actually just give Morgan a outline of your borrower's situation and see what DPA, if any, they would qualify for. Here I asked her what the minimum FICO is for a DPA. She told me 620. I asked her if DPAs are available on our TPO channel. So as I just mentioned a few moments ago, these things that we're talking about, how Morgan can assist you and your borrowers, it is available regardless what channel that you are working in. Do DPAs allow manual underwrites? So yes, the Chenoa program and the CalHAFA here in California do allow for manual underwrites.
And one thing I want to point out on CalHAFA is I think we're probably the only lender that is doing CalHAFA on TPO. I think there was one other lender, I think they stopped doing it. So for all the brokers that are watching, definitely send your CalHAFA loans here. And they go through fast. And I know a lot of agents, a lot of brokers, and both real estate agents, loan officers says, "Oh my God, DPA loans, they're painful, they're difficult, they take forever. There's a lot of last minute stuff." And sorry, it's noisy. Apologize.
People are getting so excited about
Yes,
Morgan.
exactly. We're getting we got a flash mob here. They're coming after us. Not echo here. Sorry. The bottom line is that we have everything wired into our technology. The AI is very well trained on DPA programs, and they go through really smooth and fast. There's no, we don't ever release a product until it's all trained and programmed into the AI. So every time we set up a new DPA program, once we release it, it takes about from start to finish, it takes about 3 weeks to get a new DPA program up and running. And once we do set it up, it's going to work smoothly and you don't have anything to worry about. So.
Yeah, it was funny. I actually, some of you guys may have seen us at some events recently, and I was talking to a gentleman down in Texas who worked for one of the DPAs down there. And he said, so you're saying if I don't know the answer to a question an originator asked me about the program, I could ask Morgan? I said, yeah. So anyone can use Morgan, and the ways that you can put her to work are really just up to the limits of your imagination.
Yeah, next time we're gonna have to find a quieter hotel lobby. Speaking of hotel lobbies, weren't you at a conference yesterday?
I was at a conference yesterday. Yes, we were in Nashville.
Okay, and how did that go?
Nashville was a lot of fun. So maybe some of you saw us there in Nashville. We were talking about Morgan, sharing some great information. It was a lot of fun. If you are interested in meeting up with us and learning more in person, make sure you're following us on social media, because we do announce the different events that we're going to be at, and oftentimes we can actually get you a comped ticket. So usually those tickets are anywhere from $100 to $400.
Yeah.
And we do, when we're at one of those events as a sponsor, we do get a limited amount of comp tickets. So make sure you're following us on social media so that you can see those announcements as they come out. And if we're somewhere that you are going to be, either you live there or you just think it'd be a fun city to visit, like Las Vegas next week.
Yes, we are in Las Vegas next week. We are at OTech conference. It's all about technology, and I will be there in person. And I will be speaking for about 30 minutes, 45 minutes, getting into a lot of detail. I'm looking forward to meeting everybody.
Yeah, so if you're in the Vegas area or would like to be in the Vegas area next week, reach out to let Morgan know, and Morgan will help you get signed up with a comp ticket. That's going to be a really interesting conference, because it is all about technology in the mortgage origination space.
Yes. All right. What do we got next?
All right. Let's take a look at a few more examples here of some things that Morgan did for me. Let's see. All right. So I also asked her, hey, what's the maximum DTI on a DPA? Once again, Morgan's answers are going to be as specific as the questions that I asked. So she did say it is dependent on the FICO score of the borrower, what their current housing payment is. It can be anywhere from 43% to the max. It's going to be AUS approved. So all depends on the program. Morgan does need a little bit more information, but again, you put in your borrower's situation what you're looking for, and Morgan has access to all of that information to be able to provide you that near instantaneous answer so that you can support your borrowers. And as Pavan was saying, what's better than even her being able to let you know what they qualify for and how a DPA can help them in their home purchase, she also makes using the DPA very simple. So you don't have to jump through a bunch of hoops to be able to use the DPA. You literally just tell Morgan when you're setting up that application which one you're using, and Morgan and her Morganistas will make it happen.
What are Morganistas? Morganistas are the people-powered part of people-powered technology. And anything that requires a human intervention, like following up with your customer, making a phone call, or even helping Morgan train and understand what is being requested of her. They are really good at what they do. They also understand technology really well, so they're constantly training Morgan, as well as working with your borrowers, and they're all bilingual. And that means people often ask, what two languages? And the two languages are English and Spanish. And that's not to exclude any other of the many languages that we have here in America, but those are the two most popular languages, and the most common requested is for Spanish as the alternate language. And our Morganistas are all happy and always positive and always feeling Caribbean happy because they're located in Puerto Rico.
And if you've seen any of our previous webinars where Pavan is at home in Puerto Rico, you would see the beautiful background behind him and know why they're always in a good mood.
We got a little bit of it about some of these house plants.
Some fake foliage here behind us in rainy, cold Los Angeles today. All right, let's see what else is Morgan helping me with here. Yes, how could I forget? So beyond product help and getting your loans in, there's a ton of really cool tasks that Morgan can help you with as your personal assistant. So the best way to really take advantage of all of the things that Morgan really can do for you is to think of her as truly your personal assistant. So any of those things that those tasks you'd pass along to a personal assistant, that's what Morgan's for. But 24 hours a day. So some of those things are your lead follow-up and creating some marketing for you. A lot of times we lose leads because we don't have the time to nurture those leads. We have to focus on those borrowers that are ready to purchase now. So those borrowers who need some time to work on their credit score, who need some time to save up a down payment, those oftentimes will fall through our fingers because we have to spend our time focused on those people who are ready to buy now.
Yeah, and let's face it, the reality is given this market and this environment, there's plenty of business out there, but it takes a lot more nurturing. And most agents, both the real estate agents and loan originators, you just simply don't have the time to do that level of nurturing. And sometimes it takes a month, sometimes it takes a year to nurture a borrower, but you gotta do it. So Morgan solves that problem for you. Morgan will do the nurturing for you, keep your name in front of that customer so that when they're ready to move forward, right, they call you. And by the time they're ready to move forward, they are fully approved. Not pre-approved, but fully approved. That's the way Morgan works. It drives the customer, drives the process, I should say. It drives the process to a full approval before they even go shopping for a house, because it's the underwriting of Morgan is so fast and reliable. Once, most loans are underwritten in a couple hours. And in fact, I think last quarter scorecard showed that 100% of the loans met the 8 a.m. guarantee. So it's in by 8 p.m., out by 8 a.m. So if a loan was submitted in the middle of the day or in the morning, most likely it was done in a few hours, well before the end of the day. So in order to meet that 8 a.m. deadline, most loans get done in just hours. And also near 100% of our loans were conditions, I should say, that came in. As they came in, the conditions came in and were reviewed and resolved near instantly. So almost 100% were done in under 60 minutes.
And I think an important thing to note about that condition review time is what that does for the spectrum of borrowers, right? So when you have a borrower that's they've been at their one job for 30 years and have very straightforward, income documentation, tax returns, you may be used to those types of borrowers, condition review being fairly quick. But when you're using AI like Morgan, it doesn't matter if it's a stack this high of a bunch of different pay stubs because they've had multiple employers throughout just the past couple of years. They're going to get that same exact level of service as your borrowers with that really clean, cookie cutter kind of file.
Yeah.
In fact, Pavan, you got some stats recently about decline rates and what that looks like when you're using AI versus the average across the country. Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Oh, yes. So I put out a social media post about a week, maybe 2 weeks ago. So there's a third-party nonprofit called the Urban Institute. So they did an analysis of decline rates nationally, and effectively minorities, in particular African Americans, were double that of white Americans. Okay, and when we analyzed our recent data, the Morgan AI-based data, we found that we reduced the decline rates of African American minorities to the equal to the national average white decline rate. And then we further reduced the white decline rate by another 3%, down to like 10%. So what that means to you, if you cut your decline rates in half, guess what? Your commissions will double. Half the decline rates means double the commission, right? And not to mention the loyalty you'll gain from your realtors and your referral partners, because you're able to close loans that other people cannot. And not only are you able to close loans that other people cannot, you can close them faster than anybody else. Another statistic analysis that we just did is 50%, near 50% of our loans are below 620. And once again, I apologize for the background. I can't think of all this background noise. We got to pick a quieter hotel next time. I mean, I would tolerate the noise if it was Richard Gere running around.
It might be.
Who was the other actress there? Anne Hathaway? No.
Julia Roberts.
Julia Roberts, yeah. So yeah, the Richard Gere and Julia Roberts running around, it's okay, but
it might be. We'll see. Take the camera on the move and
yeah,
see
that's right.
who we spot out there.
Well, here we go. This is a good webinar. We started off with the movie reference.
Yes.
Usually it's at the end.
It's always a good sign.
And this time you made the movie reference.
Yeah, look at that. I'm learning.
That movie definitely came out before you were born, so I don't know how you know about that movie.
So. But it's a classic. It's a classic. So, and the other interesting thing to think about when you say, okay, if my decline rates get cut in half, that means I double my approvals. There's got to be some people out there going, I don't think I could handle that volume. Just yourself on a personal level, right?
Well, it's easy. Just all the extra commission you make, just spend it.
There you go.
It's like saying I can't handle the volume, like saying you can't handle the money. Of course you can handle the money. Handling the volume is easy because the system just does the whole thing for you.
Yeah. So in the dark ages before Morgan, you may not have been able to handle, more than a couple loans a month because of all the work that you have to do between getting the application in and getting your clients into their homes. But when you have Morgan, and really all you need to do is get that application in or get your borrower connected with Morgan so that she can help them get the application in. And then you have Morgan and the Morganistas doing everything else that is needed to bring that application through and get your clients in their homes. Then you have all the time in the world to bring in additional files without having to worry about, gosh, do I have the capacity to work on all of these files?
And literally we have agents, the agent that joined us recently in Chicago, Nico, he's like, I've never had so much free time. I think he's got like 20 loans in the system. He's like, I got nothing to do. I feel nervous. Like I got nothing to do, but the money's coming to my bank account. I was like something's wrong.
It's magic.
So he called me up and said, what do I do? I said, go out and get some more loans. It's like, good idea.
Good thinking.
Okay.
Yeah, and what's very interesting about Nico, shout out the mortgage ninja. Is that?
That's what he called himself, the mortgage ninja.
He's never even logged into the LOS.
That is true. All he does is use Morgan. He just spends a few minutes, drops in the information of his clients and says, go take care of it. And Morgan takes care of it.
And if you're interested, I know on these calls, we usually go through, show you some examples like we just did talking about the DPAs. But we also do have a training playlist, really quick videos, a minute and a half out on our YouTube channel. It's something you can just ask Morgan for if you'd like. So up on your screen there where you see that woman holding her iPad, she's on the Morgan YouTube training channel right there. So really quick videos that'll walk you through some of these tasks we've been talking about, whether it's creating an account, which if you don't have one already is a very smart thing to do. Morgan's going to help you whether you have an account or not. But when you do have an account, Morgan will remember you. So if you can move from your desktop to computer to your mobile device, you just tell her authenticate, and then all your past conversations are going to be there. Other videos on there, you can use how to use what we call errands, which is essentially just having different conversations with Morgan all at the same time, because AI is an excellent multitasker. So as your personal assistant, you can actually have her working on multiple things, asking her multiple questions all at the same time. You can also learn more about the lead tracking we were just talking about, and how to set up marketing materials.
Okay. What's next? This is so exciting. Can't wait to see what's next.
All right. So this is what the follow-up, the lead follow-up schedule looks like. So if you were to register a lead with Morgan, you actually have two options. So you give Morgan your client's name, phone number, email, and she'll say, do you want me to add them to the conversation now? So if your borrower is ready to apply right then, you say yes. They're going to get a text message and an email, and Morgan is going to just walk them through applying online right then and there. If you say no, that's when Morgan and the Morganistas are going to start nurturing that lead for you. And this is what the schedule looks like. So the Morganistas step in and help Morgan with the phone call piece. But every day for the first 4 days, Morgan and the Morganistas are going to attempt to reach out to that lead over the phone and over email. After the fourth day, then it's just going to turn into a regular weekly drip campaign. So you do stay in front of that lead, stay top of mind. So when they are ready to buy, you're not going to miss that opportunity.
And by the way, this is a very well tested and tried methodology. We've been using this in our lead nurturing campaign for years, and we have a tremendous success rate. It does take a lot of energy and discipline and a heck of a lot of technology to pull this off consistently. And we do it for thousands of leads every month.
Yeah, that's another great point. The way that, for example, the lead follow-up schedule and that methodology is developed, when you're using Morgan, you get the benefit of decades of experience that SunWest has had that goes into the Morgan technology. So knowing what type of marketing works and the schedule of lead follow-up, how that works, let alone the decades of mortgage lending knowledge that went into the building of Morgan. And this is exciting too. So for those of you that are early adopters, for a limited time, we will be offering you the opportunity to actually customize those email templates in your phone scripts. So when you register a lead with Morgan, you can actually provide your own email templates. So if you have, verbiage that you would like used on the first, second, third, fourth attempt, if you have, your logos, what your email templates look like, you just provide those to Morgan. And that's what Morgan will use to reach out to your leads. Same thing with the phone scripts. So if there's certain things that you want Morgan to mention when the Morganistas call, you just provide those scripts, and those will be used when Morgan and the Morganistas are following up on the leads. You've got two resources also up on the screen here, 844 dial SWMC, as well as management at swmc.com. So if there is ever a time that you want to talk to a human, you can just tell Morgan. You can say, hey, Morgan, I want to talk to a person. If you know exactly who you want to talk to, you can actually just let her know who that is, and she will get you in touch with them. She'll set up a follow-up appointment phone call. But you can 844 dial SWMC or send an email to management at swmc.com. Any one of our senior leaders is liable to answer that phone or respond to that email. So you can provide your feedback, you can ask questions, you can even give suggestions for future builds of Morgan. So speaking of future builds of Morgan, since we've got you here, Pavan, is there any exciting news coming out?
Lots of exciting stuff coming out. I think the most important will be speeding up the AI. And the goal is in the next few months to get condition resolution down to a couple of minutes, seconds to minutes. And I just had a meeting with the AI team that's building that part of the system, and they're on track. It's going really well. I get to look under the hood. I get to put my lab coat on and walk through the lab and see what the R&D guys are doing. And they gave me a walkthrough, and it's impressive. It's really impressive. It's literally going to take, you're going to drop let's say a bank statement in a minute or two, fully reviewed, large deposits, whatever, NSF funds, everything out and fully analyzed, and a determination made.
What is wrong?
And how is
that was Richard Gere that just walked by.
Cameo on it. So you never miss a webinar. You never know who's going to be on. So with the condition review getting faster, how, without getting too technical, how does that happen? With the being able to train Morgan to review faster and faster, is that she's seeing more and more documents? Is that something they're doing to the AI? Keep in mind, you are not talking to an engineer here, so
it's all AI training. It's improving the OCR, optical character recognition, and the management of that data, and training the AI on what to do with the data. Okay. So the more is trained,
Michael will be fine. The problem
more background. So the problem, I'm trying to repeat what that guy was saying. Totally lost my train of thought. Back to you, Angel. You take it over.
That's the joy of reporting live here at the Beverly Hills.
Everybody wants to photobomb us.
All right. So another exciting thing that we are now offering is a Morgan workshop. So you do have, of course, I mentioned the short video training on the Morgan training playlist on YouTube. If you are I want to learn myself kind of person, those are out there for you. But if you are a hands-on learner and you want to get some one-on-one assistance, learning to use some of the functionalities of Morgan, it's really too vast to cover all in a workshop, but you do have the opportunity to attend a workshop with a Morgan expert trainer. We keep these workshops to a minimal amount of participants so that you can get that one-on-one kind of attention and hands-on assistance learning to use Morgan. So, on these types of calls where we've got hundreds of people all viewing, there would be no way, to say, all right, now step one, let's learn how to create some listing material and walk you all through it and be able to answer questions. So that's what these workshops are for. Again, we keep the audience very small so that you do get that more intimate experience where you can ask your questions and go through step by step. And we'll show you, everything from creating your account to, how to ask underwriting questions, attach documents for an income calculation, register your leads, create listing materials. So those are happening every day at 11 o'clock Pacific. And if you want to get signed up, all you have to do is go to usemorgan.com and tell her workshop, and she'll get you signed up for the next available session. For these, unlike our webinars here that we're on today, for these workshops, you do have to register because of the size limit. So again, we keep them small participant audience so that you can get that one-on-one attention, so you can really get comfortable hands-on using Morgan.
We actually have done, I think, 3 workshops this week so far, and we have two different teams doing the workshops. We have our team in Puerto Rico doing them, as well as a team in California. And I think the Puerto Rico team is winning because their workshop had over 80 people.
Oh wow!
which they kind of broke the rule because the workshop's supposed to be small.
Yeah, they cheated. They may have won, but they cheated.
I think their customers were impatient, and they just said, "Okay, we'll do it." Everybody wanted to be at the same spot. But the interesting on both workshops is we had a lot of first-time Morgan was really all first-time Morgan users, and most of them had already been in Morgan, had already been playing with it, already understood it, and came to the workshop to learn more, and came with specific questions. Like, how do you do this? How does this work? How does that work? So it was a very, very interactive, just an excellent learning opportunity. And I could say, we got a lot of feedback from the workshop participants. I got emails back, text messages back, and everyone said it was probably the best hour that they've spent in training in the past, in a long time. So wonderful resource. The people that we have running the workshop, they're experts. Not only are they Morgan experts, but they're also mortgage experts. They're very high mortgage IQ people that run these workshops. They've done every one of our certified mortgage trainers have originated lots of loans in their career.
And these workshops are open to not just loan originators, but realtors as well. So I know I talked to a lot of originators who are excited, of course, about Morgan, who are themselves getting comfortable using Morgan and figuring out all that she can do. So if you fall into that category and you think, I'd love to get my realtors involved and be able to, offer this as a benefit of working with me, but you're not feeling quite comfortable enough to show them yourselves, invite them to a workshop. because these workshops are for realtors as well. We'll go through, exercises, walking you through things that you as originators can do and will be helpful for you, but also for your realtor partners.
Yeah, and that's a good point. I get asked this question a lot from originators, both on the retail and wholesale channel, is if I direct one of my realtors to Morgan, how do I make sure, how do I know, not make sure, how do I know that this realtor will remain my realtor? It's real simple. There's two ways to do it. One is you can go to Morgan and just tell Morgan that I'm directing, here's a realtor's name and license number. I'm directing this realtor to Morgan, to you. And Morgan will keep track in his database, connect you and that realtor together. Okay, so that's one way. The second way is, and we'll have this feature out soon, the next, I don't know, should be before the end of the month, which is every loan officer can have their own what do you call it, URL, own web address. So every loan, so for example, you would have usemorgan.com/angel, and you would share that with your realtor. So when they click on your link, Morgan automatically knows that realtor is connected to you.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah. So
that's exciting.
Yeah, that's the next feature that's coming up. And that would make it really easy for you to drive realtors to Morgan through social media or any other platform. And you never have to worry about, somebody else interfering with your relationship.
And your clients as well, I would imagine.
Exactly.
Too, right?
Your buyers and so forth. Because then when whoever clicks that link knows immediately that this person is affiliated with you in some form, whether it's your buyer, it's your realtor, your title agent, or whatever it is.
That's really exciting. So just goes to show how often we're rolling out these new, useful, exciting features within Morgan.
Yeah, there's constant release of Morgan, sometimes once or twice a week even, of just new features, and they're just constantly rolling out. And we've had on one of the webinars, one of the workshops, we had a few experienced Morgan users. They attended the workshop and they gave us the feedback that, oh my God, there's so much more that's been added. I didn't even know this was there. And they were super excited. They're like, oh my God, there's so much more I can do with it. I didn't realize I could do. So definitely and even if you've attended the workshop once, it would probably be worthwhile for you to attend these workshops a few weeks later, because there's so much stuff being added all the time.
Right. Yeah. The workshops, joining us here on these lives, we always like to talk about either what just came out and or what's on the horizon. So staying involved with us on these calls, attending the workshops, connecting with us on social media, because of course people are always posting about the cool thing that Morgan just did for them. So make sure you're staying connected with us so that all of the ways that you can take advantage of using Morgan to really change and enhance your life.
Yeah. And we'll close with one last example. I spoke to a loan officer a week ago who had a very complex deal, which was a traveling nurse out of Chicago. I think she was in Chicago, this buyer. And she had like 17 job changes in 1 year, right? Because she's a contract nurse, goes from one location to another, and each one gives a different paycheck, different W-2, right? So for 2022, she had like 17 W-2s, and obviously, different paycheck stubs. And already in the beginning of this year, already had 5 or 6 different jobs. And he was like, oh my God, how am I going to do this? He just took all the documents, dropped it into Morgan. Okay, in a couple of hours, he had a final income and DU run and everything. He's like, oh my God, if I had done this by hand, forget it. I would have been my whole day gone. And everything was set up perfectly and ready to go. So that's the power of AI. And it's never wrong. So that's why we're able to give the warranty behind Morgan's analysis. You can give that same file to, I'm not taking away from human beings and human underwriters, right? But because that is so complex, no lender would ever warrant that, okay, whatever my underwriter said on this on these these 17 W-2s and pay stubs, we'll stand behind it. Right. They just, it isn't, that's why at every other lender, it isn't closed until it's closed. Right. And a file like that would go to an underwriter, and it would go to a level 2 underwriter to double check, then it would go to quality control, then you would finally get an approval back, which would take days.
With Morgan, that is the finance.
Yeah.
Morgan is the quality control.
All right.
All right. Well, I think we're just about at time. Thank you all for joining us here at the Beverly Hilton, home of Julia Roberts.
And Angel and I are off to Rodeo Drive and go do some shopping.
Yeah.
Cheers, everybody.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye.